Today we are going to discuss the culture of the 1950s. When the men came back from World War II, they tried to make up for lost time. During the years of 1945 through 1960, 50 million babies were born. Many veterans were taking advantage of the GI Bill after the war. This gave the men scholarships to go to college and/or low-interest loans to buy houses or start businesses. Many of these new homes were built in the suburbs. These were cookie-cutter houses built on the outskirts of the main city center. This gave way to the new American dream. This new way of life was also portrayed on the new technology of the time, the television. Consumerism was also on the rise. Just like the 1920s, the 1950s had many new inventions that were being advertised to willing consumers. The workplace was also changing. Factory jobs, or blue-collar jobs as they were known as, were decreasing, while office or white-collar jobs were increasing. Corporations were expanding. Since the workplace was changing, so was the workforce. Being safe and similar was what was wanted. A reaction to this conformity will be shown in the 1960s culture. Cars were also increasing in popularity. At this point, many people owned more than one car, and with the creation of the Interstate Highway Act, many towns and cities were linked together through roads. All along these new interstates, new businesses sprung up like hotels and fast food restaurants. The interstate system also brought new people to an area known as the Sun Belt. These were places with warmer climates and new opportunities. As already stated, the 1950s was the time of the television. It was a way to advertise many traditional American values. Some of the favorite shows dealt with the myth of the Wild West and exposed American family life. Teen culture was growing during the 1950s. Advertisers were appealing to the new, naive consumers, and new forms of music were breaking down racial barriers. Teens were starting to rebel against the conformity of their elders. This was shown through movies and books of the time. The end of the 1950s had a rise in the Beat generation. Led by authors Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg, they reacted against the conformity through spontaneity, the use of drugs, and the general rebellion against social standards. They were also known as beatniks. For the most part, though, the teens of America were told to obey authority, don't show emotions, make sure to always fit in with the crowd, and never ever think about sex. Religions had a rise in their attendance during the 1950s. This could be because of the new televised preachers. Of course, this was also reflected in the movies of the time. Men and women had very strict gender roles at the time. Women were to be at home, taking care of the children and keeping the house clean, while the men went to work and provided for their family. Thanks to the Cold War, which was still raging between the U.S. and the Soviet Union, many dollars were being spent on new technology and scientific inventions. The Soviets were the first to succeed in the space race with the launch of Sputnik. In response to this, the U.S. passed the National Defense Education Act, which increased spending in schools in order to increase and better the science education. Because of the increasing scare of nuclear war, kids were taught to duck and cover under their desk as a way to protect themselves. We know now that this is not really going to protect you in a nuclear war.